you are new to trading, or a beginner in trading, or even an intermediate in trading, and are sometimes not sure when to enter, how to enter, then watch me do a live setup right now. Let's get into it. First thing I do, as usual, is go around just to get a gauge of the market within PulseFlow. I have all this data, so why not use it? Okay, moderately bullish. That's a change from yesterday. Let's have a look to see. BTC must have held that order block, and it did. Okay. We talked about dropping through this one. This one's mitigated. We talked about the fact that this needs to hold, or we're going to drop back down to 81, 80,000. And as you can see, for the last 2 days, this order block is doing its job. So let's hope it keeps doing its job. So the market is still kind of reacting to that big drop, and it's kind of recovering. I looked at a couple of signals that came in this morning, which were bearish, but they were about to pivot to bullish. So I decided not to go in or choose them. So I've waited to see a couple of more alerts come in, and then I will go check them out. So this is why we're moderately bullish. So let's have a look around, see if we can find something to trade. I always go to Super Confluence first because they're stronger signals. Gun. Now, Gun's come in before and did quite well, actually. So it came into Liquidity Hunt and VWAP Bounce. I like VWAP Bounce because it's quite visual, right? We can put it on the chart. Let's go to VWAP Bounce now. Gun. So let's quickly go to the chart. We'll come back to this alert in a bit. Oh, because I can see something interesting. Okay, this is Gun. I am going to do some setup as usual. I'm going to speed it up so you don't get bored. Okay, points of control, as always. And I put on the VWAP. Now, VWAP is anchored. The way that PulseFlow does it, it's anchored to 0-100 hours UTC yesterday. And every 0-100 hours UTC, it snaps forward. So it starts like back yesterday, the beginning of this new day, that moves forward, new day starts, that snaps forward, and again. So you simply click VWAP, which you can find in this menu here, and it's anchored VWAP that you need. And then you go back to, in my case, 0-700 hours because I'm UTC plus 7. But if you're on UTC, that would be 0-100 hours. And you click there, and then it projects the VWAP forward. VWAP stands for volume weighted average price. The average price, but weighted by volume. So it means it's going to be different on every exchange. This is on Binance. So point of control above us, which is a good thing. I've put on a point of control below us. We have clearly the VWAP bounce, and then we have a fair value gap with a break of structure here. If we go back to the alert now, VWAP bounced 2 hours ago, my 8 a.m., which is here. That's when it came up and bounced. Now it's broken through. Very good, nice bullish signal, right? And then as it broke through, it got the fair value gap, 930. So that's where it finished there at the end close of this candle, which is why you get this fair value gap with a break of structure. So this is how I do my setup. And I am very, very patient. I don't just leap in, because if we go back to the alert, you will see in the trading card, I just happened to see this as before we went to look at the chart, tends to pull back before moving up. And anybody who watches my videos knows that I always wait for a pullback before it goes up or down, depending on whether I'm going long or short. So let's have a look at something else. The stop loss it's recommending is just over 6%. It's a low volume tier, $3,000 a minute traded on Binance. Bulls are dominating, very good. It's steady though. The momentum of the market dynamics on this coin are steady. They're not accelerating, they're not slowing down, they're steady, but the bulls are dominating. Trading Car said it prefers bullish. Anyway, let's get back to the chart and let's do this setup. This is how I do an initial setup. And I always say the word initial because I'm happy to move down because I never chase. This is a long. I never move my entries up unless I make a mistake as I've done my setup and I realize it's not going to come back down. But I never, once done my setup, move up. I only move it down if it goes against me. And then if it goes really against me, I abandon it. So I never got in the first place. Sometimes the best trade is no trade. Because we have this VWAP, I'm going to assume that it's going to come down into about the middle of this fair value gap, which is roughly where the VWAP is. I've put on various points of control, and this is what I would use as profit targets. So that's 4.6%. But as you can see, I have another profit target up here. Should it shoot through that and I'm confident to stay in, then that's 12%. In terms of stop loss, let's just put on that here. This is a TradingView indicator version of the algorithm I use in PulseFlow for stop losses. Because crypto is very volatile, right? I just like to understand what the volatility has been, and therefore sometimes you need to give a trade time to breathe. It goes into a loss a little before it goes into that profit. So that's that. But importantly also, we need to put on order blocks. 15 minute. Look at that. So we have an order block here. So we probably want to go beneath that swing low there, and then definitely out of the way of any liquidity sweep that might come down to that order block. Let's quickly just check a higher time frame. Nothing there. So I think that's roughly a good entry. So what we're waiting for, PulseFlow said it tends to pull back. You can see it's trying to do just that. From a profit target point of view, you can see that we've got these very large bearish order blocks. So the first profit target is probably the first one, and it might not get there the first time. It might bounce. If it bounces down, it might bounce up, get rejected, come back down and go up again. Don't get scared about that. You've got a reasonable setup here. The other thing to note is only ever trade an amount you're prepared to throw in the toilet. And I'm serious about that, right? Never invest your rent or food money, anything like that. You can minimize that risk by position size. Now, I know some of you use leverage. I use leverage myself sometimes. And when I look at the kind of risk-reward ratio and the state of the market, I often lower my position size and lower my leverage, sometimes not leveraging at all. So you can minimize your risk, but never, ever, ever trade with any money that you cannot afford to lose. I do not give financial advice. What you do is up to you. I would never do that. So that's my setup. Just turn off order blocks, make it clean. At the moment, that's a 1-to-1 risk-reward ratio. And I know many people say 3-to-1, 4-to-1, 5-to-1 is much better. No, it's not. No, it's not. We look at price action. Where is it likely to fail? And if that's 1-to-1, then that's still 1-to-1 profit, right? It's still that profit. Don't be assuming that this one trade will make you rich. It is a marathon, not a sprint. Anyway, thanks for getting to the end. That's my entry. Will I be right? Will I be wrong? We're going to find out tomorrow. Please subscribe, like, and share, and I'll see you when I give the results tomorrow. Bye-bye.